She's Calgary-born, Sheridan-trained, and currently starring as the unstoppable Elle Woods in Theatre Calgary's Legally Blonde. From bending stereotypes to bending and snapping, Kelsey Verzotti, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. You nailed it.
Thanks. I'm not a good actor.
Well, I think anyone can be a good actor. Are you a good liar?
No.
Okay.
I've played some games where you lie, board
social
games.
Deception games kind of thing, yeah.
Horrible.
Okay.
I wish.
You know what? That's a good thing. I think it just means that you're an honest person.
Thank you.
Because actors are just liars.
How did you get into acting? Were you into it as a child or did it come later on?
Yeah, when I was little, my mom would play musicals all the time, like Sound of Music, Oliver, Cats, the musical. And I just loved it so much and really connected with it. And I remember there was a school assembly and this girl, Jessica, sang Part of Your World from Little Mermaid in front of the whole school. And I just thought, I want to be her. Like, I want to do that. So I just went home that night and asked my dad for singing lessons. And it kind of just snowballed from there.
When did you start doing it professionally?
I, took dance lessons, singing lessons, and did like theater summer camps when I was growing up. And then out of high school, I auditioned for one theater school, just kind of put all my eggs in that basket and got in. And then it kind of just, it's so cliche, but it felt like it chose me. Like there wasn't really any other option. I mean, I had been accepted to psychology at University of Calgary, so I probably would have done that if I hadn't gotten in. But I was, like every year I would enter the Kiwanis Festival in Calgary and do dance competitions, and it was just like part of my life growing up.
What do you think your life would have been like if you were in psychology instead?
Probably also great and fulfilling. I don't know. I would have benefits.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it would be great too, but the experiences that I've had and the people that I've met from working in theater and like traveling across the country and stuff like that, like I couldn't replace that.
What shows have you done? Some highlights.
Well,
I've seen you before. I saw you at Vertigo.
Yes, and Gaslight. That was a sad show, yeah.
And Christmas Carol.
And Christmas Carol. Yeah, those are my Calgary shows. I also did Mary and Max at Theatre Calgary a couple years ago. And then I played Anne, Shirley, and Anne of Green Gables out in Charlottetown in PEI, which is beautiful. And I have been part of this new musical that just had like a premiere in Toronto, or a big show in Toronto, called Life After, which is a beautiful show that my friend wrote. And that was my first show out of college. And that was a great experience. A lot of them have been new musicals that probably no one has heard of, but it's always exciting because it's never been done before. What other shows that exist that I've been in?
And what things have you done outside of theater? Have you done?
I did a really, I did a Tubi movie.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm like, am I allowed to say it's the worst movie ever? It was like so fun. But and like the only movie I've ever done. Yeah, it's just like a rom-com and I had no idea what I was doing. And I look back, I watched it with my friends and I look back at some of the scenes and I am just acting for the gods. Like it's as if I was the main character. It's so embarrassing. So that was a good learning experience. And I've had my stint on like some reality TV shows when I was in high school.
Yeah, I read about that.
Yeah, I was on Over the Rainbow, which was like this big search to find the next Dorothy for Andrew Lloyd Webber's production of Wizard of Oz. And yeah, I was 17 years old and auditioned here in Calgary and then got a golden ticket to Oz, which was actually Toronto, and then went to Toronto and then made it to the top 100, the top 20, and then eventually the top 10. And that was quite a fun experience and also wild because it's reality TV. But I think that's when I first realized that I wanted to do it for a career because I got pulled out of high school to go do it for a month and then I got kicked off the show. And it's crazy. You get kicked off and then you have to like ride a moon across the stage and sing Somewhere Over the Rainbow. It's so weird but funny. And I got kicked off and I got back to math class in grade 12 and I was like, I can't do this every day. Like I just want to do theater.
Yeah. How are the nerves for something like that compared to live theater?
I'm sure I was very nervous and I was so young. But nerves are just such an interesting thing. Like I still get nervous for things, and it's just such a mindfulness exercise to continue to like tame those nerves. And I also wonder, a lot of my upbringing in theater when I lived in Calgary was like competitions. And so I feel like that competitive aspect must have definitely affected how I perform and the pressure that I feel. But yeah, it's a constant sort of exercise to tame.
Do the nerves change over the course of a run of a show?
Oh, yeah. Like the first few audiences, there's definitely like that adrenaline that, you know, kind of dies off after later in the run. I personally don't love knowing if certain people are in the audience. Like it just kind of changes my show. So I love like my favorite shows are when everyone's a stranger to me out in the audience. It's my favorite.
What about if you're like a note is a little off or something, does it throw off your performance?
Like if I sing a little bit badly or something?
or someone around you or just something is changed from a different show.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's something that as I've become more experienced, something that you just like really, as I said, it's like a constant mindfulness exercise to be like, to not harp on those moments. I make mistakes all the time, and to not let that domino into just having the worst show ever. It's really an exercise of just like letting those moments go. And since I've started dating someone who's not in theater, who comes to see all of the shows, and after the show, I'll be like, oh my God, that was so bad. Did you see that one part? And he never notices. And a lot of people don't notice those things. It's always a nice reminder to be like, half the people wouldn't have seen that.
Yeah, probably way more than half.
Exactly.
I bet almost no one.
Exactly. But like a tiny mistake when I was like earlier on in my career, it could like ruin my whole day.
Legally Blonde. Is that, when was that made into a musical theater production?
I should know the answer to this, but I don't off the top of my head, like 2007?
Yeah.
11? I don't know. The early 2000s.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've never seen it. I'm going to see it actually next Friday.
Oh my gosh. You're going to have a great time.
I'll see you.
Have you seen the movie?
I've seen the movie.
It's such a well done musical from movie situation. Like oftentimes, you know, a couple things are different and it's musicalized, but I think it's really well written and really stays true to the humor of the original movie, which I love.
How do you make Elle, your character, different?
I think, I mean, a lot of it is like there because she's just so prominent in pop culture, I guess. But I think that I just really relate to her in general. And I feel like we kind of just are on the same level energetically. And it's not like a big stretch from me and who I am like in everyday life, which is kind of easy. But there are things about her that I'm inspired by. But I don't know how I make her like different or my own. I think probably just because I'm me, you know? I
was going to ask you a question of, in your real life, how are you different from Elle?
One thing that I love about Elle that I need to work on is she has like she never talks badly about herself, and she believes in herself so much, even when everyone else doubts her. And I just think that's so cool. I definitely don't have that sometimes. Like the things that I say about myself can be awful. And like, I'm really working on that self-talk and all of those things. But yeah, that's something that I've noticed throughout the show. She obviously like gets down on herself and has moments, but she never says anything mean about herself. Like she really believes in herself.
Do you think playing the character, that's going to stick with you a little bit, that feeling?
100%. I mean, this process has helped me grow so much as an artist, but like a person. And like when I first got the offer, I almost turned it down. Like it took me a week to think about it because I genuinely felt like it was just out of my wheelhouse. I couldn't do it. And the 9 months leading up to rehearsals were just pure training, like mindset training and vocal training to get ready for this. And all of the things that I've learned through this training will just make me, I think, better
person.
Yeah,
and
person
actor.
and actor. Yeah.
Do you have a character that you'd want to play that you're more similar to that you can think of?
I'd love to play Glinda one day in Wicked.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of like an Elle type of character, but I think that would be really fun. And yeah, I don't know. Honestly, I've been feeling really inspired after doing this, which I thought was like the hardest thing in the world. Part of me is like, oh, the world's my oyster. Like if I work hard at something, I could do any part that I want to do.
The show has a lot of big vocal and dance components. Mm-hmm. What is the most demanding part, physically and mentally?
Act 1 is definitely very heavy in terms, like, you're kind of just shot out of a cannon. Everyone is. In normal productions of Legally Blonde, you'd have like over 20 people in the cast at least. But our production has 17, which includes 2 performing swings that are only in a couple numbers. So everyone is like playing a billion characters, doing transitions, changing wigs. It's crazy. But the first 3 numbers are like just so much energy. And it's not until after that I kind of like settle into the show. But there's a number called What You Want, which is probably physically the hardest, like just big dance number. And then Elle has to sing at the end of the song. So I'm always just so out of breath and dying, but hopefully no one can tell. And then the song that was my nightmare for the last 9 months is called So Much Better, which is like the big sort of end of Act 1 song. And the key changes like 13 billion times. And it's just like a really hard song to sort of pace yourself through. And yeah, that's probably, those 2 moments are probably the toughest.
What about the schedule? You were saying you did a couple back-to-back days this week already.
Yeah.
How's that on you?
Like normally I'm just kind of like a go person, so it's fine. But with this show, it's just like vocally exhausting. We just did 2 double show days in a row. So 4 shows in 48 hours. And it's just like high octane. So it's just exhausting. It really makes me have to pick and choose where I put my energy when I'm not on stage.
If you want to talk a little less loud, I could turn the microphone up and you can relax your voice if you want.
Oh, I mean, am I talking too loud?
No.
Okay.
No,
I appreciate
I'm
you're just trying to be helpful.
Yeah.
That's nice. I kind of just always talk loud, so.
Okay.
But thank you.
It's working. How long does it take to get a show like this ready? How long is the rehearsal process? When do you find out you got it until opening night? How long does that take?
So I found out that I got the part back in August 2024, and then 9 months, and I know it was 9 months because I was like, I have 9 months to figure it out and get in shape. So then we started April 22nd, and then our first audience was like May 21st or something like that. So we probably had like a month. We had 3 weeks in the rehearsal hall where we were learning all the dances, the music, the blocking and everything. And then a week where we sort of incorporated lights, sound, all the technical aspects, all the set pieces and costume changes, which are a huge part of the show. And then we started having audiences, and the first few audiences are preview audiences. So we still rehearse during the day, so things can change. And it's really nice to have those previews because you sort of get a feel of the pacing and what parts the audience laughs at. And yeah, it's nice.
How many costume changes do you have?
Oh my God, I have
a rough number.
Like probably like 8 maybe. There's some like super quick changes that happen on stage, like behind a wall, but I still have lines. So I have to be listening and changing and trying not to hurt the dressers. Yeah, everyone has like, there's some quick changes that are like 8 seconds. Like,
yeah,
it's crazy.
I always wonder how those get done so fast. Do you have some of it underneath?
Some people like, under, like they layer their clothes and their costumes. I have that like a little bit, but I'm usually changing like completely different outfits. And I have like 7 pairs of shoes in Act 1. Like, yeah, it's amazing what we've been able to do. But Rebecca Toon, who designed the costumes for the show, was so great about it. And the costumes are stunning. Like, I really love them. Is
it like a NASCAR pit stop where is there people changing different parts of your
Exactly
outfit?
that. Yeah. There's like dressers. You're like, we've just like mastered like what the order is. They've the way they've set up the clothes is so that you can just slip right in. Like, yeah, it's a pretty big part of the show and so important.
How long does it take to get ready for a show? Your show is at 8 tonight. What time do you get there?
I like to get there an hour and a half before. But it's not like this for every show. But for this show, I just kind of like need that time. We also have like a lift call at the beginning of the show to practice any lifts or like fight scenes or whatever that might be happening. And then to get into makeup and wig and to just not feel rushed, I just like that hour and a half.
One thing I forgot to mention, which I can't believe I forgot this when Kelsey was here, but I won the 50-50 at Theatre Calgary last year, and that is how I paid for a lot of this equipment. I'm going to put a link in the episode description. Support Theatre Calgary. Buy a 50-50 ticket. You could win too. Check it out. What has been different about this show compared to other shows you've done?
This is like one of the most, I think, like well-known musicals that I've done. Like so many people, because the pro shots on YouTube, like MTV did a pro shot of the Broadway musical. It like anyone can see it. And so I think like sort of living up to that or just like being in something that everyone knows is different because a lot of the things I do are just sort of like newer musicals. And I think just how contemporary it is. And yeah, but it's also so fun and funny. Like I look forward to doing it every day because the audience loves it.
Yeah, I bet. How do you memorize your lines?
I don't struggle necessarily with memorization.
I actually want a tip because I'm not good at that.
I don't know if my boyfriend would roll his eyes when I say that I have a photographic memory because I probably don't actually, but I am able to sort of like remember on a page the order and like where they are on a page, my lines. And then I think it gets easier when you like add movement or physicality. So for me, I think I don't memorize until we've started blocking it. So I know what's happening in the scene and like who I'm connecting with and where I'm sort of moving. That's when it sort of really locks in for me. But I don't know if I have any good tips because it's not something I have to consciously work on. Whereas like memorizing choreography, I need to consciously work on that. That's something that doesn't come easy to me.
If someone said a line out of order, would it throw you off or do you just like,
I would notice it.
Yeah.
But it wouldn't throw me off because I've done that too. Like people are human.
Do you ever, are you ever like sick and you have to push through? What do you do to get through that? Something like that?
No. Do you have any real wood here? No. Haven't gotten sick. Okay, good.
In anything ever?
I've never called out of a show before. And luckily we have swings and understudies. The person who understudies my role, which is a massive undertaking, also covers 5 other people in the show.
Oh, wow.
It's insane. Her name is April. She's amazing. So it's always nice to have that security to call out because I think, especially after like the pandemic, everyone's just like, people used to get sick and just go on. Like you would just have to go on unless you got hit by a bus or something. So it's nice to like actually have that, option to rest if you need it and stuff. But I've never had to call out. Luckily, actually one time in a show, I broke my toe, but I still came in and I sang my part on the side, which was actually worse. I'd rather if I just stayed home, but that sucked. But Like my boyfriend's brother, who we live with, he's my roommate, was sick when rehearsal started, and then my boyfriend got it, and
you quarantined yourself?
I take it so seriously. Yeah. I was like wearing a mask at home, made my boyfriend wear a mask. I slept on the couch for a couple nights. Like I refused to get sick.
Yeah, when Joe Perry was on the show, he told me about buckets in the wings.
Oh, yes.
Is that a thing still? Or they
Not anymore, but yeah, people like if they were sick, they would just go puke a little bit and then come back on stage. I had a friend that happened to in college, in our college production of Footloose. Yeah. And she was so sick and you just like kind of had to push through. But I think the mentality around that is changing, which I think is important.
Yeah. How long does your show run for?
It runs until June 15th. And then we have 2 weeks off. And then we take it to Edmonton at the Citadel Theatre for all of July.
For another month.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So how are you seeing the crowds? Is it getting busier over time or?
Yeah, I think so. I think a lot of people who see it are like, oh my God, I want to come back with friends or bring more people. So that's exciting. And like, it seems like people just really have a great time. They're on their feet at the end. Like, it's just such a feel-good show. And it's, a nice change. It's not some like deep, heavy piece that you have to like, I don't know, think that hard. It's kind of just like a nice release and like a great night out. And there's dogs in it. Like, how could you go wrong?
There's actual dogs in it?
Actual dogs. 2 dogs. Fergus and Mr. Mojave.
Shout out to them if they're watching.
And they're so cute. Mr. Mojave's like a little chihuahua and he's a little angel and I just get to carry him around and he's so cute. And it's just like so nice to have a living, breathing thing with you on stage besides the humans beside you. But like, I don't know, it's just so sweet. And then Fergus is the bulldog and he's adorable. I can hear him snorting when I'm on stage and he's waiting to go on.
Does the full cast go from here to Edmonton or change a little?
Yes, the full cast.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. What about the team behind the scenes?
Most of them, so like all the stage managers will, thank goodness, because they know the show so well. And Shelby J, who's our stage manager, who calls all the cues and everything, she's coming with us, which is amazing. But like we're going to have different dressers, different crew backstage. But the director and choreographer, Stephanie Graham, she's going to come and meet us in Edmonton and help set the show up there because it's a completely different theater. So things might have to change.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm going to take a quick break.
Okay.
We'll be back.
Okay. Let me see if I got that. It goes something like this. Like, hey, everyone. Thanks so much for watching. If you're not already subscribed, hit the button below. Subscribe. Check us out on Instagram, Spotify, Apple Music, anywhere you get your podcasts. Now back to the Deets.
Exactly.
Okay.
I think I can just use that.
Great.
That was good.
I'm glad.
You're a professional. And we're back.
Hey.
How long have you been in Calgary? How long were you away from Calgary?
So, born and raised in Calgary in the Northwest, Hawkwood.
Nice.
Yeah. Took all my schooling here, went to William Aberhart High School. Orange, William Aberhart Oranges represent.
I went to Francis.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
All my friends were from Francis. That's fun. And then right after high school, I went to Sheridan College out in Oakville, Ontario. And then it just kind of like made sense to move to Toronto because that's sort of like the theater hub of Canada, I would say, like in Ontario, even though there's so much amazing theater out west as well. But I've been working in Ontario and Charlottetown and PEI. And then I had done 2 contracts in Calgary, but I would just come back to visit family. But then I met my boyfriend, who we actually went to high school together, but then we reconnected a couple years ago. And he is Calgary's biggest fan. Like he loves it here and his whole family's here. So I was like, okay, I guess I need to work in Calgary because the long distance is just too much.
Yeah.
And not fun. So cut to me just trying to work here, which has worked out, and I'm super grateful for that. And the theater community here is amazing and so kind and generous and welcoming. And yeah, it's been amazing to meet so many people here. And
Do you see changes when you leave and come back in the city and also in the theater community?
In Calgary?
Yeah.
It's hard to say because I feel like I'm really just like getting immersed into Calgary's theater scene right now. And I mean, the city is growing like crazy from when I grew up here. But I think like the arts and culture is growing as well, which is amazing. And Stafford Arima, who's the artistic director at Theatre Calgary, I think has done so much for that theater. And like genuinely, it's one of the best theaters I've worked at in the country. Like they really take care of their artists, which honestly can't be said for everywhere, unfortunately. So yeah, I really, like of all the places that my boyfriend lives, like I'm really glad it's here.
Yeah. What places do you like to go in your restaurants? Anything?
Oh my God, yeah. We have a long list of restaurants we've got to hit up, but I'm a big fan of 10 Foot Henry. He just took me to Bridget Bar for my birthday, Sweet Loretta, Barbarella, just some classic restaurants, I guess, but they're so good. And yeah, there's so many nice little neighborhoods, and Toronto is nice, but it's so overwhelming and just it's bustling and it's busy, and like sometimes that's fun, but I just feel like in Calgary, like the sky's so blue and it's just like fresh.
Blue sky city.
And that is why they say that. You get the most sunlight. Like I'm waking up at 6 a.m. here because it's so bright out.
Yeah.
So I need a sleep mask.
The most sunlight hours, I think, out of major cities.
I've heard that. It boasts that, yeah.
Don't quote me, but I
think that's true.
Tell me about Anne of Green Gables.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, in Charlottetown and on PEI, like she's everywhere. The story's everywhere. It's like super famous. There's a whole store dedicated to Anne Shirley. And so like a big sort of like iconic Canadian literary character. And then this musical that's been running for 60 years out there is pretty incredible and like a really cool part of like Canada's music theater history. But yeah, getting to play Anne was like such an amazing experience and like something I never thought I would do. I specifically had a teacher at Sheridan who I had auditioned for the Charlottetown Festival, which is where they do the show. And I had told him about the audition and he was like, oh, unfortunately, you're never going to be in that show because so many people from Japan come out to see that musical and they wouldn't want to see one of their own on stage. And it was just like sort of a terrible moment that when he said that, and sort of the first time I was like, oh, there are so many boundaries because I don't look like what people think that character would look like. And because yeah, it was just kind of an awful moment in like my sort of budding career of just like feeling like someone was just, you can't do this because of the way you look. And so when I got the part, it was just one of those like full circle moments that made me feel like the theater industry is sort of like moving forward and moving out of those sort of stereotypes and sort of challenging who can play what parts, which is really cool.
Even with Elle, I think.
Oh my God, yeah. I had originally sent in a tape for Vivian because I just didn't assume I would be playing out, like just because of my own stereotypes about the part. I was like, just thought it would be just a white girl who was maybe blonde even. So when the director called me and was like, oh, like, why didn't you submit for Elle? I just like, it just had not crossed my mind at all. And it was really nice that she really believed in me. And from the start, she was like, Elle is someone who is, kind and bubbly and energetic, and you are all those things. And so that's the most important part about her. So that was really special.
Do you feel more pressure as Anne or Elle? To live up to the
totally
role?
There's pressure in both, and like the pressure when you're like a different version of an iconic character is always kind of tough. Like it really makes you have to prove that they made a good choice, especially with Anne because it was the first, like there's only been 20 people that have played that part. And so being the first person of color, the first of something is just like a lot of pressure. And all I wanted was to make sure that audiences weren't like, see, that's why we don't, like just those are the thoughts that came into my head, unfortunately. But I think having that under my belt showed me that I can trust myself to like work really hard and do work that I'm proud of. So I think it made it easier with Elle. And I think we're also just like moving forward as a society, and like it didn't feel as shocking for some reason.
Would you do that again? Did they ask you back ever?
For Anne?
Yeah.
Yeah. They did ask me back in 2024, so last year. And it was so great to do it again and just have another crack at it and be in Charlottetown, which is the most beautiful place ever, and eat seafood all the time. But the trend has been you get 2 years and then they kind of move on. So I wouldn't really expect to be asked back, but I would totally go back out there. Yeah.
What about different genres? How often do you move around?
Like musical wise? Or like the type of show?
The type of show. Like Gaslight was very different from Legally Blonde.
Yeah.
How often do you move around?
I guess however often I get cast in different shows, like it's I feel very lucky to have been able to do so many different things. And like a lot of people like solely just do musicals and some people just do plays. So I love that I've been able to have a crack at both and get experience in both. But
are musicals your favorite?
Yeah, I feel like it's sort of just my sweet spot. And I feel like I thrive in those settings, and like I just love singing. Mm-hmm. And there's like a sort of different, especially like a big musical like this, the comedy beats. Like I just love this style of show. And I do also love plays as well. It just sort of depends. Yeah.
Do you like karaoke?
Honestly, no. Like I've started to, now that I'm dating someone who's not in theater and who all of his friends have become my friends, and I've gone to karaoke with them. I'm like, okay, that's fun. But I guess because it's my job, like I just don't want to do that with my theater friends.
Do they expect you to be really good at it?
Yeah, which is like even worse. Like I just don't want to do that. I'm not getting paid. I'm off the clock. But you get a couple drinks with me and karaoke can be fun. And like then you can just sing any song, like some Shania Twain or whatever makes me feel good. But it's not like my first choice of a night out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had some questions about behind the scenes. Because people don't know what goes into, the whole production. Mm-hmm. How many people are involved overall putting it together? Like is there a different coach for each aspect of it?
Yeah.
Choreographers, and
yeah.
Yeah.
So we have like our director also choreographed it, which is great for a show like this because sometimes you have a director and a choreographer, but sometimes it's nice to have that one same person do both because you get sort of like a through line and a just general vision that you're able to like be super cohesive on. And then we have a music director, Rachel Cameron, who is in charge of conducting the band, playing every show, teaching us all the music, making sure that our harmonies are correct and all of those things. And then we had a couple assistant choreographer directors, which was really nice to have in the room. And then Greg is our dance captain. So he sort of makes sure, as well as our swing. So everyone's just doing so many jobs, but he basically makes sure that the formations stay the same, the dancing is correct, things don't get a little loose and sloppy. And then we have stage managers who, like, 2 of them are backstage, 3 of them are backstage. 1 of them is calling the show, like all the light cues, all the sound cues, all the flies that come down. And then the people off, the crew is massive. There's just so many people going into it.
How many people roughly do you think are traveling from Calgary to Edmonton?
The whole cast, but some of them are from Edmonton. So that's 17 plus maybe just over 20. We're getting different dogs in Edmonton too.
Oh, really?
I know. Yeah.
I hope you build the same rapport with the new dogs.
Me too.
Do you think my dogs could audition? Too big?
They're just not the right breed, which is like so racist, but it's just not. They have to be a Chihuahua or a Bulldog.
Okay. If you could bring any musical to Calgary, what would it be?
Oh my God. You wouldn't know them because the person who composed Life After, my friend Britta Johnson and her sister Annika Johnson, they're like unbelievable composers and theater composers, and they just write music that makes you feel things that you just didn't even know you could feel. And I would just love for one of their shows to be in Calgary because I just want more people to know who they are.
That's good. I'll make a reel out of that.
Great.
They'll know.
Start now. Life After in Calgary.
I want Little Shop of Horrors.
That would be such a good musical.
How come it never comes here? I've seen so many other things come
I don't know. Make this a reel.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Let's do Little Shop in Calgary.
Could I be in it? I need a lot of training.
Of course you could be in it. You could play the puppet, the big plant.
Okay.
Yeah.
In a suit.
In a suit. Like you wouldn't even be seen, but you could sort of like.
I'd want to be at least when it's little.
Yeah.
Or anytime.
Anytime. Just be in it.
If it comes, can you?
I'll pull some strings.
Thank you. What about, you already said Glinda, but what's a dream play or musical and venue?
Venue. I'm like Broadway. No, I don't know. I'd love to work in the West End, actually. I was just in London for a bit, and I'm just like, imagine the whole heartbeat of the city revolves around theater. Like every street corner is like a beautiful old theater. I would love to be in like Into the Woods, or I don't know. It's hard to have like, I'd love to be in Waitress one day.
Yeah.
That show's being done everywhere now, which is great. Yeah, I'm down for whatever.
Do you have a favorite moment of this play that you see from offstage, just watching?
Well, the only thing I'm not on stage for that I'm not changing that I can watch is Whipped into Shape, which is like this iconic jump rope number that Brooke, who is the fitness coach that is the defendant in the case or whatever, that Elle defends. It's like her workout video, and our cast is like jump roping on stage, singing their faces off. It's so amazing to watch. And it's so fun to go backstage and watch the conductor camera because you can see like the first few rows and just watch people's reactions to it. They're just like blown away. And so like that's probably my favorite. And then another favorite moment, but I'm on stage, is at the end when Vivian convinces Elle to stay. I think so much of the show is about...
Spoiler.
If you've seen the movie, you should have seen the movie.
Yeah.
And it's not a huge spoiler, but I just think so much of the show is just about like women lifting up other women and like supporting them. And I think in the theater industry, sometimes like that is hard when like at theater school, you're sort of like pitted against each other and there's weird competitiveness. And so I love that moment in the show. I think it's like the true love story is between those two girls. What
were the differences you found from theater school going into actual like applied in the real world?
I mean, the nice thing about being out in the real world is that like there are some myths you hear in theater school. Like we were told like in auditions, you shouldn't say hi unless the panel says hi first, or like ask them about their day. And like there's so many things when you get out that you're like, oh, actually just being a human being is all you really need. And yeah, I think that it's easy when you're in those sort of like insular like programs to just be put in a box and just kind of like live out your school career as one thing. And so it's really cool to, you know, like all of the things that have happened to me, I never could have expected when I was at Sheridan. So it's nice to just like be free and like actually just take any opportunity and sort of break boundaries and show yourself that you're not just one thing.
What about on the opposite side of that coin? What's something you learned there that people wouldn't know that you use now that they're watching?
I mean, also literally everything. Like I loved my time at Sheridan. I would do it all again, especially for the people that I met. Like my friends, my best friends were from there. And also the connections that we got to work with. Michael Rubinoff, who was the associate dean at the time, he's a producer on Come From Away, like a really big Canadian theater producer. He had this program there called the CMTP, which is the Canadian Music Theatre Project. And he sort of like helped incubate new musicals, and Come From Away actually was part of that. And now it's a Tony Award winning musical. And so we got to meet a lot of writers and stuff that I have now been able to work with, and just making those connections was amazing. But it was like a crazy time, but it helped me sort of dip my toe into so many different parts of the industry.
I think Come From Away is here next year with Theatre Calgary.
It is. Yes, I have an audition next week.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Hope you
Appreciate
get
it. Thanks. I mean,
I'll be there.
They're probably like, you can't be on the stage anymore. We've cast you too much. But it's a great musical, so I'm excited for that.
This episode's coming out on the 8th, I think.
Sweet.
So, tell people where to go. When's the last day of Legally Blonde?
The last day of Legally Blonde in Calgary is June 15th. And you just have to see it. It's like so fun. You could bring someone that's never been to a musical or like hates musicals, and they're going to have a good time. You just can't go wrong. It's like a feel good time. Get off your screens and go to the theater.
And if you miss it, drive up to Edmonton.
It's 3 hours.
Yeah.
And then you could catch an Oilers game. Just kidding. My boyfriend would be really mad if I said that.
I'm leaving it in.
Oh, no.
Anything else you want to talk about?
No, I think that covers a lot.
I hope I was a good host for you.
You were great.
You do a lot of podcasts?
Actually, no.
Have you done a podcast before?
Yeah, like over Zoom during COVID, but never a cool setup like this.
Thank you.
With like a mug and everything.
Yeah, the mugs. That
feels so legit.
Thanks.
Yeah.
I think that's all.
Great.
I think that's all I have. What do you think? What are your goals moving forward? You're going to apply for or audition for
Come From Away. Yeah, that's on the goals list for sure. No, I think just like, I mean, having consistent work is a great goal to have, and continuing to like push myself. Like there was a part of me that was going to say no to playing Elle, and then I thought really hard about it, and I was like, that's not going to be my storyline. Like I think doing things that scare me is something that I've learned over the last 9 months, that it's just so worth it. And like continuing to build that trust in myself is something that I want to keep working on. And with this, I've been forced to like really look at that inner critic and sort of change my nasty habits of how I talk to myself and stuff. So I think continuing with that and not letting that sort of just revert back to what it was before after this contract ends.
Okay.
My goal, yeah.
Next show you have, please come back to this show.
Okay.
And promote it.
I will.
Okay.
Well, it will probably be Christmas Carol, so I'll be here.
Come back.
Great.
And maybe Joe would come again too.
Yeah, we could do a little duo on the couch.
Yeah, I bet he would.
Oh, but Joe's not in it this year.
Oh, no.
Because he's in Stratford being a star. But someone else will.
Okay.
Daniel, who's also in Legally Blonde, who plays Emmett. We could come together.
You'll be my connection.
Okay, great. Yeah,
Okay.
just message me.
Okay.
Sweet.
So I just take these off and it ends immediately with the magic of editing. It's just like as soon as these are not touching my head, it's over.
Okay.
Any last words?
No.
Okay,
Thank
bye.
you.